Hey everybody, we're back with part 6 now. In our last video, in part 5, we talked pretty much wholly about the faith that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego displayed, and how it's that kind of faith that's going to be needed for those that are in the tribulation. But right now I want to talk about the decision that they made and the choice that was put before them. You know, we saw earlier on how King Nebuchadnezzar had commanded that everyone worship the beast, which is what the Antichrist will do. He will command everyone to worship the image, his image that is set up. It's clear here that there is a choice there, okay? Because if there had not been a choice, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego would have not ended up in the furnace. They would have just went along with what was going on, and the king would have never have known any different as far as what their beliefs were. But they stood up for their faith in our true living God. And that's the point I want to make. And it goes along with the mark of the beast as well. There is just so much in this one chapter that God has showed me that it's just amazing. But anyway, when the Antichrist commands that the image be worshipped, that'll be a choice. You will either worship it or you won't. You'll have a decision to make. If you're here at that time, you'll have a decision to make. Now, yeah, you could just kind of go with the crowd and say that, well, they just won't know the difference. But the thing is, there's a scripture, and I wish I had looked it up before I started this, but there is a scripture, and I'm thinking it may be in Revelations, that I believe mentions that they will have to worship the beast and receive the mark. It will be something that comes based on that simultaneously. Now, I will look the scripture up, and if I have misquoted, I will correct myself. But my point here is, it's not something that can be slid in on you and you receive it accidentally, or that will be forced upon you and you won't have a choice, because God does not allow Satan to take that choice from you. Now, what goes on in the tribulation will be unlike anything that man has ever seen, and it will try you to the innermost parts of your heart spiritually, and it will try you physically. But the point I'm trying to make is that Satan cannot force you to be or to take the mark and to worship the beast. You will have that decision. Now, it won't be an easy decision to make if you're here in the tribulation. It will not be an easy decision to make, because you're probably going to be looking at the fact that if you do not take the mark and you do not worship the beast, your family, you're going to be looking at from a human standpoint, that your family, you may be wondering how you're going to feed them, how you're going to have shelter, things that we know are necessities in life. But that's where the unshakable faith comes in, because you will have to, and I don't know any other way to put this than to say, if you are in a tribulation period, you will have to dig down in your heart and in your soul and trust God no matter what comes, no matter what thoughts enter your mind, no matter what. awful things that may come even to those that you love. Because this is the final chapter, so to speak. The final act. Because once the tribulation has run its course, then the 1,000-year millennium sets in. But during this time of tribulation, it is all about, now it's mainly about Israel, restoring Israel to where it needs to be with the Lord. Let's not overlook that fact, because actually Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego are a clear picture of the remnant of Israel during the tribulation period. But that's not to say that what is going on within what God is revealing in this chapter, it will affect everyone during the time of the tribulation. And you will have this decision to make, because the Antichrist will rule over all at that point in time, or he thinks he's ruled over all. That's what his goal is. I'm going to have to cut this off and go to another one. We'll do 7 in just a few moments.